Hello, aspirants. Did you know that a recent political development has once again brought Article 75(2) of the Indian Constitution into the spotlight? Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan resigned after sustained nationwide protests linked to alleged examination irregularities and paper leak controversies. The resignation has renewed discussion about how ministers leave office under the Constitution. But what exactly does the Constitution say? Article 75(2) states that the ministers shall hold office during the pleasure of the President. At first glance, it appears that the President alone decides whether a minister continues in office. However, India's parliamentary system works differently. In practice, the President acts on the aid and advice of the Prime Minister. Therefore, a minister remains in office only as long as they enjoy the confidence of the Prime Minister. If the Prime Minister advises that a minister be removed, or if the minister submits a resignation that is accepted through the constitutional process, the President formally ends that minister's tenure. This principle is known as the Doctrine of Pleasure. It is important to understand that this doctrine in India is not absolute. Unlike the British system, the President does not exercise personal discretion in ordinary circumstances. The President acts according to constitutional conventions and the advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. Now, let's connect this with the recent development. Following weeks of protests and growing demands for accountability over examination related issues, Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan resigned from the Council of Ministers. The resignation represents a constitutional process under Article 75(2), where a minister ceases to hold office after the appropriate constitutional advice and formal acceptance. The political reasons for a resignation and the constitutional mechanism governing it are two separate aspects that UPSC aspirants should distinguish carefully. Another important constitutional provision is Article 75(3). It states that the Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. This means that although an individual minister may resign, the Council of Ministers functions as a collective body. If the Lok Sabha passes a vote of no confidence against the Council of Ministers, the entire council, including the Prime Minister, must resign. For UPSC Prelims, remember these quick facts. Article 74. President acts on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. Article 75(1). Prime Minister is appointed by the President and other ministers are appointed on the advice of the Prime Minister. Article 75(2). Ministers hold office during the pleasure of the President. Article 75(3). Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. Understanding not just the news but the constitutional provisions behind it is essential for both UPSC Prelims and Mains. Follow Learn with Logesh for daily current affairs connected directly with the Indian Constitution and UPSC preparation.